Welcome back to another episode of Shift with Motordrift. So, this time the topic of discussion is the car culture in India. Yeah, so there were a few topics which I wanted to talk about. First of all, let's talk about some good news. So, Lamborghini India recently achieved an impressive feat of delivering more than 100 Lamborghini Urus in India. Now, this number might not seem huge, but considering the price of the Lamborghini Urus, which happens to be about 3.10 crores ex showroom Delhi, and it comes to be about 3.5 crores on road Delhi, it's an expensive car, and it happens to be one of the most celebrated super SUVs around the world. So the hype was good, and the reason it sold in such numbers was first of all, it has a Lamborghini badge. Indians and their obsession with Lamborghinis. I don't need to talk about it. We can basically see in the number of supercars which are delivered on a day-to-day basis. Lamborghini rules India in terms of supercars. And then it's an SUV. Again, Indians and their fascination with SUVs. I don't need to talk about that as well. Like more than I don't know, India has like millions and millions of SUVs. Be it Bolero, Tata Sumo, XUVs, SUVs. It's just crazy. And when you combine the price factor that it happens to be the most affordable Lamborghini in India and the performance which it is offering, you easily get a product that's going to be successful for sure. And Lamborghini has sold more than 10,000 Lamborghini Uruses around the world, and 100 of them have been delivered just in India alone. More than 100 actually. So first of all, I'm not surprised when I heard this, but I was just happy that damn, India achieved this goal. India made this feat in just a few months of time. Cause just an year ago, the number of Uruses in India wasn't that much. It was in single digit or two digit numbers in the lower two digits. But now see, more than 100 Uruses are roaming around in India. And that's a good thing. And another reason is the affordability part. Now, 3.1 crore X showroom isn't exactly affordable, but when you consider the price of the Lamborghini Huracan and the Aventador, you really start to see that the Urus is the most affordable Lamborghini in India. So people usually go with the Lamborghini Urus because they are getting the badge, they are getting the performance, they are getting the practicality, they are getting the SUV stance, they are getting the attention. What more can a person ask for? So that pretty much sums it up that why it has sold in such high numbers. Now the Lamborghini Urus has brought in a revolution in the car culture of India. Now this is the second time a revolution in the car culture has happened in India. The first time the car culture in India was revolutionized was when Ford came up with the Mustang GT to India. 5 liter, naturally aspirated V8, 395 horsepower, 550 Newton meter of torque, rear wheel driven, and like the features like line lock. So basically, and the looks of the Mustang, of course, the brand name Mustang, just the brand name. So that car sold like hotcakes. Even though it costed about 75 to 80 lakhs, Mustang GT sold in high numbers. Till date, 450 Mustang GTs have been sold. 450. That's not a small number for a car like the Mustang GT. And I'm happy to see that there are 450 American V8s rolling around in our country. I'm happy to see that. And if we count in just the classic Mustangs as well and the other Mustangs that have came in via the private imports, then we might have close to about 600 Mustangs which are just roaring. So it feels pretty good. Not gonna lie about that. Also, the second Ferrari SF90 Stradale got delivered in India, and it has found its home in Mumbai. So now, what's special about this car is, in a nutshell, the SF90 Stradale is a hypercar for the price of a supercar. I've talked about it previously as well, and currently, if you look up the price charts, you will find that the SF90 Stradale is the most expensive supercar you can buy in India. Do you know the price? It's 7.5 crores ex showroom Delhi, and the on road price is about 8.6 crores. Boom. 8.6 crores. You can buy like three Lamborghini Huracans in that price. But doesn't matter because after all, it's a Ferrari SF90 Stradale. It's the most powerful Ferrari ever built for the road. And I recently got to hear some news as well that an AMG GT Black Series might be making its way to India. A couple of them actually, and a McLaren 765 LT may be on its way too. So it will be great to see these two cars coming to India because they happen to be part of a limited edition of cars. These are not your normal production supercars, which are just made in huge numbers. So that will be interesting to see. And the other topic which I wanted to speak about was the term hypercar. Recently, nowadays, I've seen an exploitation of this term, hypercar. People are using this term for like even supercars and sports cars. And I just wanted to talk about what an hypercar actually is. So, a hypercar is basically the top of the top percent. It's the 1% of the top category of cars. If you want to get the best, the fastest, and the most expensive car on the planet, those are hypercars, basically. Now, the term hypercar, it became famous and it came around the time when the Bugatti Veyron broke the world speed record and it achieved a top speed of 408 kmph. So the Bugatti Veyron, as we all know, it has 1001 horsepower, metric horsepower, and it is about $1 million in the price, and it is about $1 million in terms of pricing. And we know the performance figures 0 to 100 in 2.5 seconds and that 408 kmph top speed. So that is what a hypercar is. Now, some might say that the McLaren F1 is the true hypercar, and I agree. Before the Veyron, basically, a hypercar is not a specific car. I came, I have recently learned that a hypercar is not a basic, like a car with some specifications. It's basically the best of a company. McLaren's best effort till date in terms of cars still happens to be the McLaren F1, the OG, the original gangster. So the McLaren F1 can be regarded as an hypercar. At its time, it was an hypercar, but now it's not. Of course, it's not. And then came the Bugatti Veyron, and we all know what it did. So that was a time the hypercar term more started to, like just spread around. And then companies like Koenigsegg entered in this segment and started giving competition to Bugatti. And we know the competition these two companies give each other. It's a long ending battle. It's a never ending battle, basically. And manufacturers like Ferrari, Porsche, and McLaren also made their entry to the hypercar segment in 2012 when they came up with the Holy Trinity. The Holy Trinity happens to be one of those reasons why hypercars are being made in so much numbers because the Holy Trinity influenced and people saw what hypercars are really capable of. Like they are the best of the best. We got the McLaren P1, the Porsche 918, and the Ferrari LaFerrari. I love all the three of those cars, and I've even made videos on them. That's just how much I love about them. I've made a video on the McLaren P1 as well, and a video on the Porsche 918, and a video on the LaFerrari will be coming in soon, sometime in the future. Now, another thing which I wanted to talk about was synthetic fuel. Recently, I saw that Porsche is investing a lot in synthetic fuel. Now, what synthetic fuel is basically? So, you have water. Water has two components, hydrogen and oxygen, H2O. So, if you separate the hydrogen from the water, you get those fuel cells, hydrogen fuel cells, which Toyota is working upon. But if you take that hydrogen part and combine it with CO2, the stuff which we are trying to reduce from the atmosphere, you get synthetic methanol. Now, if you refine it further, you can get synthetic petrol and synthetic diesel. So, in a way, we can still run our big V8, V12s, and all W16s with the help of the synthetic fuel. Maybe a bit of tweaking might be required for the engine to adapt to this new fuel, but it would work just as fine. And the thing is, here carbon is getting burnt, not oxygen. So we are not releasing CO2 in the air. Now, the reason why Porsche has invested heavily in synthetic fuel is because Porsche doesn't want to electrify its 911 lineup, and I salute them for that. And they basically want to keep the 911 lineup going on with those flat six engines. So Porsche is like really looking at a way to, like just keep those engines alive somehow. And we as petrol heads, and me as a petrol head, I really appreciate Porsche's effort a lot. And yeah, electric cars are good, no doubt about it. Like they provide you with all the torque in the lower RPM, and you get that sudden boost, you get that wonderful acceleration and all. But there is a thing with engines that you just can't give the same with electric cars. You can't give that feeling. You can try to make electric cars as fun as IC cars, but they still won't be come close. But they still won't be able to come close to IC cars, because IC cars have that sound component. I'm talking about performance cars. They have sound component, and they have manual transmissions. Moreover, the that feeling of just mechanical raw feel of holding the steering wheel, turning it, that heavy feeling you get, that isn't present in electric cars. And that is one of the reasons why electric car always feels soulless. They feel like they have no soul. For a general city car, an electric car makes total sense. For day to day use, I think that electric cars are perfect. But for days when you just want to, like enjoy your time, have a good time, have some fun, then I guess there is nothing beating the IC cars. So that will be all for this time. And there are some other topics as well which I want to discuss in the future. A podcast is also coming soon. I have recorded some podcasts that are coming soon, and those are not solo, by the way. Those are not solo. So yeah, a solo podcast might come up later on. But yeah, that's all for now. Stay tuned and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and join the Motordrift community, because we would love to have you as a part of it. So please join in. Till then, ciao.